The bullet missed Yongquan's head by 3 millimeters. He felt it whisper past his ear, a hot kiss of death that embedded itself in the mahogany paneling behind him. No sound. Suppressed. Professional. He didn't flinch. Didn't dive for cover. Just turned slowly toward the shattered window of his penthouse, glass glittering like diamonds across the marble floor. And smiled. Because he'd been expecting this. What he hadn't expected was the message carved into the bullet he dug from the wall with bloody fingers. She was mine first. 4 words that rewrote everything he thought he knew. About the past. About Amara. About why she'd really run 3 years ago. "Hello, old friend," Quan whispered to the Seoul Knight. "I was wondering when you'd crawl out of hell." Across the city in that secure house he'd bought for his family, Amara woke screaming from a nightmare she couldn't remember, but her hands were clutched protectively over her stomach, and her last thought before consciousness returned was a name she'd buried so deep she'd almost convinced herself it was fiction. Dante, the ghost who'd promised to love her forever, the monster who'd made Yongquan look like a saint, the dead man who apparently wasn't quite as dead as everyone believed. 6 weeks into Yongquan's 6-month redemption timeline. The house he'd secured for Amara and the children was everything she'd never dared to dream about. 3 stories of modern architecture nestled in Pyeongchang-dong, one of Seoul's most exclusive neighborhoods. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a private garden, a playroom bigger than her entire previous apartment. Security so tight that not even air moved without being monitored. The children had adjusted with the resilience only toddlers possessed. To them, this was simply their new castle. Marcus had claimed the blue bedroom, Mason the green, Mina the pink one with princess curtains that she'd squealed over for 20 minutes straight. They asked about Daddy constantly. When would he visit? Why did he have to work so much? Could they call him? Amara had no answers, because Yongquan had vanished into whatever dark work consumed him. No visits, no calls, just weekly deposits into an account she hadn't asked for. Enough money to make her previous struggles seem like a cruel joke. And flowers. Always flowers. 3 bouquets delivered every Sunday. 1 for each child. Each with a handwritten note in Quan's precise script. "Marcus, you have my determination. Use it to protect those you love. Mason, you have my intelligence. Use it to build rather than destroy. Mina, you have my heart. Guard it carefully, little one. Never anything for Amara." As if he knew that words meant nothing anymore, that only actions could speak the language of redemption. But today the flowers came with something else. A photograph. Black and white. Grainy. Surveillance footage from what looked like a warehouse. 2 figures in the frame, one unmistakably Yongquan, younger, harder, covered in blood. The other man's face was turned away, but something about his posture made Amara's blood run cold. On the back, written in handwriting that definitely wasn't Quan's, "Ask him about the night he killed me." Her hands shook so badly she nearly dropped it. 12 hours earlier, in an abandoned factory on the outskirts of Seoul. Yongquan stood over a man who'd once been his closest friend, his brother in everything but blood, the person he'd trusted more than anyone in the world, until that trust had been weaponized, twisted, used to destroy everything. "Hello, Dante," Quan said quietly. "You're looking good for a dead man." Dante Minjun laughed. A wet, pained sound that came from lungs still healing from the bullets that should have killed him 5 years ago. The same night Yongquan was shot, the same deal gone wrong. Except Quan had survived and believed Dante hadn't. Believed wrong. "You always were terrible at confirming kills," Dante wheezed. He was strapped to a chair, but even bound and bleeding, there was something dangerous in his eyes, something unhinged. Too sentimental. Too weak. "Weak?" Quan crouched to eye level. "I built an empire while you were playing dead. Doesn't sound weak to me. You built it on my corpse, on my connections, my strategies." Dante spat blood. Everything you have, you stole from me. I stole nothing. You betrayed the organization, sold information to our enemies, got good men killed. I fell in love, Dante's shout echoed through the empty factory. I fell in love with her and you couldn't stand it. Couldn't stand that someone chose me over you. Kwan went very still. What are you talking about? Don't play stupid. It doesn't suit you. Dante's smile was grotesque. Amara, my Amara. The woman I met 4 years ago when she first came to Korea. The woman I courted for months. The woman who looked at me like I was her savior. The world tilted. You're lying. Am I? Ask her about the American consultant who helped her get her visa, who found her first apartment, who took her to dinner every week and made her laugh. Dante leaned forward despite his restraints. Ask her about the man she was falling for before you seduced her away with your money and power. Kwan's fist connected with Dante's jaw before he consciously decided to throw the punch. Once, twice. 3 times until blood flowed freely and Dante was laughing through broken teeth. There he is, Dante gurgled. There's the monster underneath the expensive suits. Does she know? Does Amara know what you really are? She knows enough. Does she know you're the reason I disappeared? That you had me shot and left for dead because I was competition? Dante's eyes gleamed with malice. Does she know the father of her children is a murderer who kills anyone who gets close to what he wants? I didn't know about you and Amara. Didn't know you were involved with her. Liar. You knew. You've always known. That's why you went after her. That's why you seduced your own assistant. Because she was mine first, and you wanted to prove you could take anything from me. That's not... Then why did you never ask about her past? Never questioned how a broke American girl afforded to move to Seoul? Never wondered who helped her get established? Dante smiled through blood. Because you knew. On some level, you knew she'd been with me. And you took her anyway because that's what you do. You take and take and take until there's nothing left. Kwan stood abruptly, walked to the window, stared at Seoul's lights and tried to remember, tried to recall if there'd been signs, clues, evidence that Amara had known Dante, but 3.5 years ago when she'd started working for him, she'd been just another employee. Pretty, competent, nothing special. He hadn't paid attention to her for months, hadn't noticed her until that drunken night when she'd stumbled into his house and changed everything. Or had he noticed her before? Had some subconscious part of him recognized her from Dante's photos? From the surveillance he'd ordered on his friend when he'd started suspecting betrayal? It doesn't matter, Kwan said finally. Whatever happened between you and Amara was 4 years ago. Whatever connection you had is dead. Is it? Then why did she wake up screaming my name last night? Kwan turned sharply. What? Oh, you didn't know. Dante's grin was triumphant. I've been watching, Kwan. Watching your pretty little family in that pretty little house. Your security is good, but mine is better. And last night your Amara had nightmares. Called out for me in her sleep. Dante, don't leave me. Dante, come back. You're lying. Am I? Check the footage from her bedroom, camera 3, 2:47 a.m. She woke up crying, whispering my name like a prayer. Dante leaned back, satisfaction radiating from his ruined face. She never forgot me, brother. Never stopped loving me. You were just a replacement. A poor substitute for the man she really wanted. Kwan's phone buzzed. A message from his head of security. Sir, we have a problem. Someone breached the perimeter at the Pyeongchang house. No entry, but they left something. A photograph. His blood ran cold. What did you do? I sent her a reminder, Dante said cheerfully. A little memory of the night you murdered me. Let's see if she still loves you when she knows the truth. Present moment. The secure house. Amara staring at the photograph. She knew this image. Had seen it before in nightmares she'd spent years trying to forget. The warehouse, the blood, the 2 men who'd both claimed to love her, facing each other with guns drawn and murder in their eyes. 4 years ago, she'd been new to Korea, naive, broke. desperate for belonging in a country where she didn't speak the language, didn't understand the culture, didn't have anyone. Then Dante had appeared like a fairy tale, charming, attentive, American-born but fluent in Korean. He'd helped her with everything: visa paperwork, apartment hunting, job interviews, had taken her to dinner and made her laugh, had looked at her like she was precious instead of just another foreigner taking up space. She'd been falling in love with him, slowly, carefully, the kind of love that builds from friendship and trust rather than explosive passion. Then he'd disappeared. One day he was there, the next gone. No calls, no messages, his apartment cleaned out, his phone disconnected, like he'd never existed. She'd been devastated, confused, had spent weeks trying to find him, convinced something terrible had happened, until someone at her language school had mentioned casually, cruelly, that Dante Minjun had been killed in gang violence. Wrong place, wrong time. Body never recovered. She'd mourned, had cried for weeks, had sworn never to trust her heart to anyone again. Then Yung Kwan had hired her as his assistant, and for months she'd been nothing but professional, had kept every wall up, had refused to see him as anything but her employer, until that drunken night when her defences were down and he'd looked at her like she was the answer to every question he'd ever asked. She'd let herself fall, let herself believe, let herself trust again, and it had destroyed her. But now, staring at this photograph, a horrible question formed. What if Dante's disappearance hadn't been random? What if Yung Kwan had known about them? What if he'd... No. She couldn't think it, wouldn't believe it. But the photograph said otherwise, said Yung Kwan and Dante had known each other, had been in that warehouse together, had been involved in whatever violence had occurred. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but some instinct made her pick up. Hello, beautiful. The voice was familiar, impossible, dead. Did you miss me? The phone slipped from her fingers, clattered on the marble floor, because she knew that voice. Had heard it in dreams and nightmares for 4 years. Dante. Alive. 20 minutes later, Yung Kwan's car screeched to a stop outside the Pyeongchang house. He'd broken every traffic law getting here. Had called ahead to his security team, ordering them to lock down the entire property. No one in, no one out. Total isolation. He found Amara in the living room sitting perfectly still, staring at nothing. The photograph was on the coffee table, her phone beside it, screen still lit with a call log showing an 8-minute conversation with an unknown number. Amara. He approached carefully like she was a wild animal that might bolt. Are you all right? She turned to look at him, and the expression on her face made his blood freeze. Not anger, not fear. Something worse. Betrayal. Tell me you didn't know, she said quietly. Tell me you didn't know about Dante and me. Every instinct screamed at him to lie, to protect himself, to deny. But he'd promised himself, no more lies, no more games, only truth, however ugly. I knew. She flinched like he'd struck her. I didn't know in the beginning, he continued quickly. When you first started working for me, I had no idea you'd been involved with Dante. But later, when you and I started... He struggled for words. I found photos. Surveillance from years ago when I was investigating him. You were in some of them. And you said nothing. What was I supposed to say? By the way, my former best friend who I thought was dead used to date you. How does that conversation start? With honesty. She stood abruptly. You should have told me. You should have... She stopped, shook her head. Did you kill him? No. He says you did. Says you shot him and left him to die in that warehouse. He's lying. Dante betrayed the organization, sold information to our enemies. Good men died because of him. Kwan stepped closer. I confronted him that night. There was a fight. Guns were drawn. But before either of us could shoot, rival gang members attacked. In the chaos, we both got hit. I woke up in a hospital, was told Dante died at the scene. But he didn't die. No, He faked his death. Disappeared. I thought he was gone. Kwan's jaw clenched. I didn't know he'd been watching, waiting, planning. Planning what? Revenge. Against me. Using you. Amara laughed bitterly. So I'm just a pawn? A weapon you two pass back and forth? No, don't. She held up a hand. Don't tell me I'm special. Don't tell me you love me, because I don't believe it anymore. I think you took me away from Dante because you could, because that's what you do. You take things. That's not true, isn't it? You took my innocence, took my trust, took 3 years of my life raising our children alone because your pride was more important than honesty. Her voice broke. And now I find out you took Dante from me too. The first man who ever made me feel wanted, who made Korea feel like home instead of exile. He wasn't who you thought he was. Neither are you. The shout echoed through the house. Somewhere upstairs, one of the children started crying. Neither of you are who I thought. You're both liars, both monsters, and I'm done being caught in the middle. She walked past him toward the stairs. Where are you going? To my children, the only people in this world who haven't lied to me. Amara, please. He wants to meet. She stopped but didn't turn around. Dante, he called, said he wants to explain everything, said I deserve to know the truth about that night, about you, about us. Don't. Whatever he told you, whatever he wants, it's a trap. Everything is a trap, she said tiredly. I've been living in traps for 4 years. What's one more? You can't meet him. He's dangerous. So are you. Finally, she looked back. How do I know you're the good guy in this story? How do I know you're not the villain pretending to be a hero? Because I'm here. Because I'm fighting for you. Because I love me. Yes, I've heard. She smiled sadly. Dante said the same thing 4 years ago. Said he loved me. Said he'd protect me. Then he vanished and you appeared. Now you're saying the same words, making the same promises, and you expect me to believe you when I don't even know if anything you've told me is real. The children are real. Marcus, Mason, Mina, they're real. They're mine. Ours. Are they? Or are they just more weapons in whatever war you're fighting? The question hit him like a bullet. How dare you? How dare I? Her laugh was sharp. You brought war to our doorstep. Men broke into my home, attacked me in front of my babies, because of you, because of your world, because I was stupid enough to fall for the wrong man. Again. She turned away, started up the stairs. If you meet him, Kwan called after her, I can't protect you. I don't want your protection. I want the truth. I've told you the truth. No. You've told me your version. Now I want to hear his. Then I'll decide who the real monster is. She disappeared upstairs, leaving Kwan standing in the foyer of the house he'd bought to keep her safe, the house that was supposed to be their new beginning. Instead, it was becoming a tomb. 3 days later, at a cafe in Itaewon, Amara sat across from a ghost. Dante Minjun looked nothing like she remembered. The charming, smiling man who'd taken her to dinners and made her laugh was gone. In his place sat someone harder, scarred, changed by whatever hell he'd endured. But his eyes were the same, warm, familiar, the eyes of the first man who'd made her believe she could belong somewhere. You came, he said softly. I wasn't sure you would. I shouldn't have, she gripped her coffee cup. But I need to know, need to understand what happened 4 years ago. Yung Kwan happened. Dante's voice hardened. He found out about us. Found out I'd fallen in love with his future assistant and he couldn't stand it. Why would he care? I wasn't even working for him yet. Because he'd already noticed you, had already marked you as his. That's how his mind works, Amara. He sees something he wants and he takes it. Doesn't matter if it belongs to someone else. So he... What? Tried to kill you? He succeeded in killing me. Dante Minjun died in that warehouse. The person who survived is someone else. Someone who's spent 4 years planning, waiting, getting strong enough to take back what was stolen. I'm not property, she said firmly. I don't belong to anyone. I know, but try telling Yongkwan that. Dante leaned forward. Do you know why he really hired you? Why he gave you that job even though you were barely qualified? He said, I had potential. He said you were a loose end, someone who might remember me, might ask questions, so he brought you close, kept you under control. And when an opportunity presented itself, when you showed up drunk at his house, he took it, seduced you, bound you to him in the most permanent way possible. The children, she whispered. The children, Dante confirmed. Do you really think that night was an accident? That your birth control just happened to fail? That a man as controlling as Yongkwan didn't plan every detail? Her stomach churned. You're saying he got me pregnant on purpose? I'm saying nothing Yongkwan does is an accident. Everything is strategy. Everything serves a purpose. And you, beautiful Amara, served the purpose of erasing me from your heart forever. She stood abruptly. I need air. I know it's a lot. It's insane. You're asking me to believe that the father of my children is a monster who manipulated everything. I'm asking you to see the truth. Dante stood too. Look, I don't expect you to trust me, not yet. But I can prove everything I'm saying. Documents, recordings, evidence that Yongkwan knew about us, that he ordered my death, that he's been controlling your life for 4 years. Why now? Why wait 4 years to reveal yourself? Because I wasn't ready, wasn't strong enough. He destroyed me, Amara. Physically, emotionally, financially. It took years to rebuild, to become someone who could stand against him. Dante's hand reached across the table, almost touching hers. But I never forgot you. Never stopped loving you. Every day I spent healing, I thought about you. About getting you back. About showing you the truth. I have children now. With him. I know. And I'm not asking you to abandon them. I'm asking you to protect them. From a man who sees them as possessions. As heirs to his criminal empire. Do you want Marcus, Mason, and Mina growing up in that world? Learning violence? Becoming monsters like their father? The question hit every fear she'd carried since learning who Yongkwan really was. What do you want from me? Her blood froze. How did you... I have surveillance on you. Have had it since the break-in. For your protection. He stood. I saw everything. The cafe, the conversation, him touching your hand. You're spying on me? I'm protecting you. From what? From the truth? From finding out what you really are? From him? Kwan's control cracked. From a man who's filling your head with lies and manipulation, who's using your fear and confusion to turn you against me. Or maybe he's telling me what you never would. Maybe he's giving me the truth you've been hiding for 4 years. There is no truth, just his version of events designed to destroy us. Us? She laughed bitterly. There is no us, Yongkwan. There's you, your empire, your violence, your obsession with control. And there's me, caught in the middle of a war I never asked to fight. What do you want from me? His voice broke. What do I have to do to prove I love you? That I'm trying to be better? That everything I've done has been to protect you and our children? I want you to let me go. Silence. Heavy. Absolute. What? Let me go. Let us go. Stop fighting. Stop trying to control everything. Just release me from this nightmare. I can't do that. Why not? Because I love you. The shout echoed through the house. Because you're everything. Because losing you 3 years ago almost killed me and I won't survive it again. Because our children deserve a father who fights for them even when their mother has given up. I haven't given up. I'm trying to survive, trying to give my babies a life that isn't full of bullets and blood and men who see them as weapons. Then stay. Let me finish what I started. 6 months, Amara. That's all I need. 6 months to dismantle the old empire and build something new, something safe, something worthy of you. And if I don't believe you? If I think Dante's right and you're just manipulating me again? He moved closer, close enough that she could see the desperation in his eyes, the fear, the love that terrified her because it felt real even when everything else was lies. "Then test me," he whispered. "Ask me anything, I'll tell you the truth, every ugly detail, every sin, every moment I'm ashamed of. No more secrets, no more games, just honesty, however brutal." She wanted to believe him, wanted to so badly it physically hurt. But Dante's words echoed. Everything Jungkwan does is strategy. "Did you know about Dante and me before we got together?" His hesitation told her everything. "Yes," the word landed like a bomb. "I didn't know in the beginning," he said quickly. "When I hired you, I had no idea. But later, when we started getting close, I ran a background check, standard procedure, and your name came up in old surveillance of Dante. I saw photos of you two together, realized you'd been the woman he'd been seeing before he betrayed us. And you said nothing. What was I supposed to say? By then we were already involved, already falling for each other. Telling you would have just caused pain." "Or honesty." "Honesty," he agreed. "Which I should have chosen. I know that now. But at the time I thought I was protecting you, protecting us. Did you sabotage my birth control?" His eyes widened. "What? No. God, no. Amara, the pregnancy was an accident, a beautiful accident, but an accident. I would never—" He stopped, took a breath. "Is that what Dante told you? That I got you pregnant on purpose?" He said nothing you do is an accident. He's wrong. Some things are beyond even my control. Like falling in love with you. Like creating 3 perfect children. Like destroying the best thing that ever happened to me because I was too proud to be vulnerable." She wanted to believe him. Every instinct screamed that Jungkwan was telling the truth. That Dante was the manipulator, not him. But how could she trust her instincts when they'd failed her so completely before? "I need time," she said finally. "Time to think. Time to figure out who's lying and who's telling the truth." "How much time?" "I don't know. Weeks. Maybe months. I don't have months. Dante is planning something big, I can feel it. And if you're caught in the middle when it happens, then that's my choice, my risk to take. Not when our children are involved, not when their safety depends on decisions you make in confusion and fear. So what do you suggest? That I just blindly trust you? Follow you back into the darkness and hope you've changed?" "No." He pulled something from his pocket. A USB drive. "I suggest you look at this. Evidence. Everything I have on Dante. Everything he did. The betrayals, the bodies, the proof that he's not the victim he's pretending to be." She took it hesitantly. "And if this is fake, if you manufactured this to turn me against him, then you'll know I'm the monster, and you'll leave, and I'll spend the rest of my life knowing I lost you forever." His eyes held hers. "But if it's real, if you see the truth about who Dante really is, then you'll understand why I'm so desperate to protect you, why I can't let him near you or our children, why I'll burn the world down before I let him take you from me again." She clutched the USB drive. "I'll look at it. But Jungkwan, if I find out you've lied to me one more time about anything, we're done. Forever. No second chances, no explanations, just done." "Understood." She turned to walk upstairs, stopped, looked back. "Did you love me? That first night? Or was I just convenient?" The question hung in the air, heavy with consequence. "I didn't know I loved you," he answered honestly. "Not that first night. But somewhere between dawn and noon the next day, when I woke up and you were gone, I realized I'd lost something I didn't know I needed. And I've spent every day since trying to get it back. Not the grand declaration she'd wanted, but somehow the quiet honesty was more powerful." She went upstairs without another word. 2 hours later, Amara sat at her computer, USB drive inserted, watching footage that shattered her reality. Dante wasn't a victim, wasn't the charming man she'd fallen for 4 years ago. The files showed everything. Drug trafficking, human smuggling, murders. Not theoretical crime, actual footage of Dante Minjun, executing people who'd crossed him, laughing while doing it. And there, dated 6 months before he'd met Amara, a recording of Dante talking to someone off camera. Yongkwan has a weakness now, that assistant of his, the American. If I can get close to her first, turn her against him, we can destroy him from the inside. Her stomach churned. I'll court her. Make her fall in love, then disappear at the right moment. Make it look like Yongkwan killed me. She'll hate him. And when the time comes, she'll testify against him. The voice off camera. And if she doesn't, Dante's laugh, then I'll use the children she'll have with him. Kids make excellent leverage. Amara ran to the bathroom and vomited. Everything. Every moment with Dante 4 years ago. Every sweet word. Every tender gesture. It had all been strategy, manipulation, a long game designed to destroy Yongkwan, using her as a weapon. She'd been a target, not a girlfriend, not someone precious, just a means to an end. And now he was back, trying the same game, except this time there were children involved. 3 innocent babies who Dante saw as leverage. Her phone rang, Dante's number. She answered on speaker, hitting record. Have you thought about my offer? His voice was warm, familiar, completely false now that she knew the truth. I have. And I think you should disappear. Again. Permanently this time. Silence. Then, what did he show you? The truth. About who you really are, what you really want. That footage is fake, manufactured. Yongkwan is a master manipulator. Stop! Her voice was ice. I'm done being manipulated by either of you, but at least Yongkwan's manipulation comes from love, however twisted. Yours comes from pure malice. Amara, please. If you come near me or my children again, I'll kill you myself. And unlike Yongkwan, I won't leave you alive to crawl back later. She hung up, hands shaking, heart pounding. Downstairs, she found Yongkwan exactly where she'd left him, sitting in the living room, waiting. You were right, she said quietly, about Dante, about everything. Relief flooded his features. Amara, but that doesn't mean I trust you. Doesn't mean we're okay. It just means I know who the bigger threat is. I'll take it. Whatever you're willing to give, I'll take it. Good. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to finish your 6 months. You're going to dismantle your empire and build something legitimate. And you're going to do it without involving me or the children. We'll be here, safe, waiting. But we won't be part of your world until you prove that world is safe. Agreed. And when the 6 months are up, if you've done everything you promised, we'll talk. Really talk. About us. About the future. About whether love is enough to overcome everything that's happened. And if I fail, then I disappear. For real this time. Somewhere even your resources can't reach. And you'll never see your children again. It was harsh, brutal, but necessary. I won't fail, he said simply. I can't. Because losing you isn't an option anymore. She wanted to believe him, wanted to fall into his arms and pretend everything was fine. But trust, once shattered, took more than words to rebuild. So she just nodded, went upstairs, kissed her sleeping children, and prayed she was making the right choice. Across the city in an abandoned building, Dante Minjun watched the footage of Amara's phone conversation. She'd recorded it. Smart girl, and she'd chosen Yongkwan. Disappointing but not unexpected. He smiled, pulled out his own phone, made a call. Phase 2 is a go, he said quietly. She chose him, which means we move to the final play. The voice on the other end. The children? The children, Dante confirmed. Yongkwan thinks he's won, thinks he's protected them. He has no idea what's coming. He hung up, stared at a photo on his phone, Amara and the triplets in the park, taken yesterday by his surveillance team. You should have chosen me, beautiful, he whispered to the image. Now everyone pays the price. Because this was never about love, never about Amara or redemption or second chances. The next morning, Amara woke to find Mina's bed empty. No note, no sign of struggle. Just an empty room and a single white rose on the pillow, the same flowers Dante used to bring her 4 years ago, and written on the mirror in lipstick, "The game begins now. Choose wisely." This was about revenge, pure, absolute, devastating. And the best revenge? Making Jungkwan watch as everything he loved burned to ash, starting with the 3 children who carried his blood. To be continued. Comment now. Will Jungkwan save his daughter in time? Or has Dante already won? And what choice will Amara have to make, her child's life or Jungkwan's destruction? Subscribe to Echoes of Law because Part 6 is where everything you thought you knew gets obliterated. Trust no one, believe nothing, and prepare for a finale that will leave you breathless.